stream. Oh my goodness, I'm excited. Okay.
And are you recording it as well?
I will, yep. Once we get on live, I'll let you know when we're live. It says, you'll see a red thing at the top of the screen when we're live.
I just have a thing that says live on the top of the screen.
Okay. Things are just getting started here, so just hold on 1 second. Okay, it looks like we are live. Perfect. So I'm just going to pause it on the YouTube screen just so we can see any messages. And see if we can also share this to the groups. So we're just gonna get some technical stuff going here. And then once
all this tech stuff, I'm like, thank God you're here for this.
It's taken me a hot minute to figure out, let me tell you. I went through a lot of tears trying to get this figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Because once I got this computer a couple of years ago, I was like, I don't know how to use a computer. Like, I haven't used a computer since like high school, and they were different. Like,
yeah.
It was a whole different world.
Problem right now, I'm like, build a course. Can I write it down?
I know, right? So we're having to like evolve, and once you get through all the stuff, figuring it out, then it gets easier. Okay, so we're gonna paste, and I'm gonna paste it to your group first. And
I feel like you have to ask for permission to do stuff. So I might have to go over onto my Facebook to accept you.
Okay. No worries. We're not recording it anyway, so none of this really matters at the moment.
I had so many people fucking posting like all those scam posts, and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing about having the groups open, right, not private, is you get a lot of those people coming in, those scammers. Okay, so it's gonna post to your.
I'm just going to check.
Okay, so if we do have anybody just checking in with us live right now on YouTube, through YouTube, please just say hi in the comments so we can know what's going on here, and we can see what's going on here. I'm gonna get this going also on my cell phone so I can see it from there and turn off the volume so we don't have any feedback.
Yeah, I got you live on mine now. I just got it approved, so we're good to go.
Good. I'm gonna get it going on my cell phone and have that happening as well. Okay, and then I'm just gonna share your post into my group, and then we can start chatting, and I will get things recorded here. Look at me, man. It only took me like a year to get this figured out, but I've got it now. I've got this shit.
It's amazing. And once you know, you know.
Yeah, and I'm really happy because I had so many moments where I was like, why the fuck do I need to know this? And I'm just like sitting, like crying, like, I can't do this. And then Spirit's just like, we know it's hard, but you're gonna thank yourself later. And all right. I'm thanking myself now.
Akashic records. I was like, why is this so hard? Yeah. Probably because of my teacher.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, maybe not the best teacher in the world on that one. Just gave us the bare minimum and just like, off you go.
Listen, if you spend $70,000, I will give you all the answers in the world.
That's right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And are we really helping the people now? No, we're really just after the money. Okay. I'm gonna do one more technical thing. I'm going on to my group of Facebook. I've got us on YouTube on my cell phone. You can watch the video in your own group. I'm gonna watch for comments, and let's get going here. So I'm gonna come back to.
I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to see mine because I'm on my phone.
Oh yeah, you can only do the thingy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and start recording this. All right, good, or I should say grand rising to everybody checking in this morning. Come on in here with Charlotte and I. We are coming together this morning because we've been talking a lot over the last couple weeks, and we've been really noticing a lot of frequency shifts, big ones, but we're also seeing a lot of healers, wayshowers, guiders, whatever, people doing this work, and this energy coming through them. And this got into my field at one point too of, should we even be charging money? Is this something that are we getting away from ourselves from, like, are we getting caught up in that world of the money with all of this? And so we really wanted to have this conversation today, especially with some of the things Charlotte's seeing, as well as some of her colleagues, some of these entities and different energies coming in. And so so for those that don't know me, my name is Amber. I'm with Soul Tribe Tarot and Healing, and I am a New Earth Ascension Wayshower. So that involves a lot of different angles, like most, here to usher in those New Earth frequencies, anchoring in the codes, helping the humans through their healing, facilitating that, teaching lots of different things. And today we have here Charla with Dragonfly Soul Healing. I have to always think about that one because I know like two other people with like a Dragonfly Soul kind of like healing group.
Butterflies are out, dragonflies are in.
Yeah. So I'll let you take a moment to introduce yourself here.
Yes, so I'm Charla, and I have been on this journey for a while, and I call myself a quantum healer. So, kind of just allowing that expansive energy of I do the Akashic records, I do a lot of removing of the entities and the darkness, the things that a lot of people are scared of. Those are a lot of things that I tap into, and I actually like take on that challenge in a sense of like, let's pull this shit apart. So I do a love meditation circles, stuff like that, just really teaching the people all about these things. And that's, part of what we were talking about with that, the money coming in, the abundance, what that looks like. It's all about that new earth ascension, how we start changing the way we look at the world and those conditioned programs we've been placed in.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So we are really all of us working together for the same common goal. And so let's dive into this. So for those that aren't aware, also Charlotte is located in Salmon Arm, and she does have, like she said, lots of really powerful quantum healing circles, as well as she works out of a space as well. So you can always touch base with her after. We will provide our handles to reach us by email or any other way through social media. So yeah, I had this overwhelming feeling come over me on the same day that I was feeling overwhelming with like happiness and joy and abundance and money. And then all of a sudden I went like, whew, and flipped the complete opposite energy. And I was like low. I was like, oh, like, what am I doing? Should I be even charging money for this? Like, am I not being humble anymore? These energies came over me, and Charlotte's like, girl, I want you to go back and listen to your last message that you sent me and listen to the way you sound now, because something shifted there. And just explain a little bit, Charlotte, about what you've been seeing in people's fields in terms of those like tentacle beings and stuff like that.
The tentacle beings, those have been showing up. I mean, I seen them last year as well. There was another girl that I was working with that we were consistently seeing. And this morning I was actually watching a video that was really talking about the parasites. And these are the things that are kind of leeching on people that are actually causing that downward spiral in the spiritual world. Because when we start opening our field and we start actually seeing the truth, so not like when you're just starting to awaken to the spiritual world. I mean, like when you actually start waking up to the spiritual world, there's definitely many layers to it. And when we first wake up, we're very much into the crystals, the chakras, archangels, these kinds of things, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just like very base level. Like we're starting to try and unplug from the system, but we don't even really know what the system looks like and what that means. And so my chair's sliding down here. And so what happens is once we start going deeper into that work where we're actually unplugging, we draw a lot of energy towards us, which is causing these parasites to latch on. And then you're watching these healers actually start getting taken out and getting off track. And this is where you start actually watching them be like, you're not allowed to make money being a healer, because that's out of integrity, out of alignment with what a human is meant to be. We're supposed to give our service to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a trigger. Like when I listened to your message, for sure, I was like having to like pull my own shit in and not be like, fuck this, and be like flipping out. But also too, trying to like pull back in so that you could pull out of your spin as well, because it was like night and day listening to your message, and it was like hours apart where I wasn't able to like open your message for the whole day or whatever. So it was like first thing in the day, it was like, oh my God, I'm so excited, like I got so much done, everything was happening. And then the next was like, hey, yeah, so ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely got something in my field there at that point in time, and it's been a struggle lately. I'm waking up every morning. I'm doing my work. I'm cleansing my energy. I'm patching up my field. I'm protecting. Like you name it. I'm doing it. But it's like these energies right now are just nonstop, and they are either doing one of two things from what I'm seeing. Is number one, they're trying to convince you that charging money for your services is bad, and that's not what we should be doing with these gifts that are given to us by God. We should just be giving them freely to the people. We should be just, hoping and praying and knowing that the money is going to come from other sources, even though it doesn't work like that in the quantum field. And or they're getting into the healers and teachers and all them, and they're actually plugging them into that black magic money grids, and they are becoming greedy. They are becoming plugged into just the money, the money, the money, the money, the money.
Mhm.
So there's like those two spectrums happening, and it's really hard to keep yourself in the middle. You constantly have to be checking in with at least I know I am. I'm constantly checking in with myself. I've got my group of support people who, it's just we're constantly talking with one another and checking each other's fields and making sure that we're not being too this or too that, or it's a whole thing right now. Of course, it's always been a thing, but it just really feels like it's amping up right now. And that really kind of just like brings me to that other topic too, of like people, including myself in the very beginning when I first started. I mean, I gave pretty much everything away I did for free, all my tarot readings, everything, right? Because I was in that energy of I didn't feel right charging people. I was just like, you know what? No, keep it affordable. Charge $10 here, $15 here. But it did not allow me to be able to continue to help people, because number one, they didn't see me, they didn't take me seriously, right? Unfortunately, because people in this planet see things as value based on money currency, right? So when we see somebody giving something away, it's just like, well, why are they giving that away for free? Is it really worth my time? Are they really actually that good? Because we know that due to the way things have been constructed, when somebody is really good at something, you're paying top dollar for that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like that program that's in there that we're kind of up against, right? Because for the longest time, I did try to just give things away for free or really low price, and that actually was the detriment of my business. It did the opposite of what I wanted. And so then you start actually charging what you're worth, and then some people are like, well, you shouldn't be charging that much. That's a lot of money. And it's like, okay, well, where's the right? Like, where am I supposed to land in between this? It's either good or it's bad here. Why are we still polarizing things, right? What if we just charge what feels in alignment vibrationally with what we're giving, and then the other person or whoever doesn't need to necessarily understand that. And if they think that it's too much, then perhaps it's because energetically they're just not there themselves. They're just not in alignment with that pricing themselves, because they have their own poverty consciousness mindset to heal and to deprogram and reprogram. And of course, like you've mentioned, Charlie, things like those nun codes and religious codes and all this stuff of, like energy's free, you shouldn't be charging for it. Jesus didn't do that. God didn't, whatever, all these things. But it's like, when we're doing this work, we're just channeling energy. And when somebody is an artist or makes music, what are they doing? they're channeling energy. If somebody's building a house, they're channeling their creativity through that energy. They get paid, so why shouldn't we get paid?
Yeah.
Where's that stereotype coming in, and where is that really stemming from? So what are you seeing with that stereotype, and where that's coming from our past?
I feel like, the way that I presented it to you even was we're the wayshowers of that new timeline. So a lot of the information that we have right now is things that a lot of humans don't actually understand and can't quite comprehend. And what we've learned over the last several centuries is money has been valued. And this goes back to that Egypt time that we talked about a little while ago. But humans still value money. And the only way to fully take in the downloads of what we're showing you guys is to put value on it. So I remember when I first started, same thing. I had a lot of clients on my page that was like, they would, if I go and post in my group right now, like a free card reading, I'm doing a free card pull, like 50 people, me. Do I complain about it? Not at all. Not at all, because I don't mind doing the balance. The problem what I found is like that's all they were there for, was like the free cards, the pull cards that I was doing, the little bit of guidance I was doing. Everybody was there for that free. And I was constantly putting my energy into that and yet getting no return. So I was still living in that truck driver world where I was having to work 16-hour days and all this stuff to make ends meet. And then guess what? There was no energy to even think about pulling my own tarot cards, let alone going and doing free stuff for other people, trying to show them the things. And so I could see how valuable my stuff was even when I first started. It was like, yeah, I just felt like this was something that just happened because I went through trauma and the cards like helped me through. So I was like, how do I help other people through trauma? How do I help other people break away from their narcissistic partner and like get over that piece so that they don't have to keep going back to those relationships? Yeah. And I could see the value in what was going on, but then it was almost becoming resentful because it was like, all people want is the free stuff. Everybody wants to dump all of their emotions onto me. Like my astrologer this week actually said that. She's like, with your Pluto in the Scorpio opposite your moon, she's like, people literally just dump all their shits. Like they can't even help but give you all their dirty secrets. I'm like, yeah, I know. There's so many secrets up in here. Like, you need to be charging for that because people are literally dumping, like they're taking you as a counselor. And I was like, this is a conversation that recently came up. A lot of people value money, and in order to fully take in those downloads, they do require an exchange. And because of where we're at on earth, back when Jesus was come in, even then the energy exchange was different because money wasn't as heavily tied at that point.
Exactly.
Right? And so the energy exchange was different. So we can't actually use that as an example here now because we are like thousands of years past that in the fucking karmic traumas that the humans have been experiencing lifetime after lifetime, which is why we chose to come in as the star seeds, the wayshowers. So we chose to go through hell and back. And this is something my friend Tammy said after I'd like had the conversation with you. She literally said, we don't just get these gifts given. We worked really fucking hard for these gifts. We went through hell and back to actually initiate and figure out what these were. I didn't just become a quantum healer. I literally almost died 100 times in this lifetime, tried to kill myself in this lifetime. And it was in me starting to wake up and be like, this is why I'm struggling so much, that I finally started to take those codes in. And so as the wayshowers, we wake up much earlier than many, which what we're seeing right now is a massive wave about to wake up. And this is where we are going to be really required. We're not going to have time to do a regular human job in the next few months here because it's going to be so intense with the amount of people waking up. And the only way for them to fully take in those codes and that information to really do that healing is to put value on it, which is that money. And so we do a lot of other things to kind of balance those scales. So like I said, I do the free card pulls. I constantly give gift certificates away to different organizations and different things. It's like, here, I'm happy to do free sessions because absolutely. I've been blessed to finally get this information, but I didn't just have it handed to me. I
Mm-mm.
had to fight every day to decide, just like everybody else out there, they're going to have to do the same. Are we all magical? Yeah, in our own way. But in order to fully do that, like I had to pay for a quantum healing course that actually gave me the value to be like, yes, 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 let me take this in. And as I did that, the more information came in. But when I was taking free stuff, I wasn't getting as much. So that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And, with the nun codes, that was my biggest thing where I was like, this just stems back to the religion, this having to give our services away.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is let's just recant and rescind anywhere we hold these vows when we were a nun or a priest, where we held these vows of saying that we had to give our service away, that we had to live in poverty and those kinds of things,
Yeah.
because those religions are what is the main source of us going downhill.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. It's so huge.
Mm.
I've seen it so many times too, like going into other people's akashics too, and there's like so many timelines that show up of people as nuns, as priests, or even pre-Christianity. Like we're talking like ancient, thousands and thousands of years before Egypt, before all of the things that we even know in history books, where the Earth's energy was so incredibly high that everybody was using magic and energy for free because that was just the existence. That was just where they were at.
Yeah.
But there's still some like vows that I was seeing in these lifetimes where it was almost like somehow in those time eras they were still making vows not to use what they have from Mother Earth or what they're getting from Mother Earth for their own personal gain. That was a big one that I seen, and I was just like, okay, well, yeah, let's destroy and uncreate that because
Mm.
I understand that we have been abusing Mother Earth's energy and resources for many, many, many years. And that is kind of another big thing that comes up for people is, they're not trying to like feed into that anymore as well. But the thing is that it's not that we're taking it from Earth. We're not taking it from anybody. Energy is everywhere all the time. And as long as you are using it for good, for the highest good of all, then you're not putting any bad energy back into anything. And so, yeah, I was seeing a lot of stuff showing up too around like the times of like the Romans, the Roman Catholic Church kind of stuff, when all those blood rituals came about, and then just things get a little bit messy around in there. So,
Mm-hmm.
If anybody, is experiencing this, if you're watching this and you're experiencing this sort of like contradictory kind of feeling inside of you of like, I don't know if I should be charging, it doesn't feel quite right, or maybe I'll just keep my prices really affordable. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with that, but also maybe take a little bit of a look deeper and try and really dig in and be like, okay, well, why do I feel that way? Is that really coming from like the goodness of my heart, or is that something coming from an outside energy or from a past life that is holding you in that energy? Because we did get born into this timeline at this time for a reason. We came with these blueprints that are holding the different codes, the different gifts, the different abilities from this lifetime and all the past lifetimes that in this lifetime we get to use.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I feel personally, as long as one is not falling into greed about it and still in it for the highest good of all, then I personally don't see any issue with charging money. Because like you said earlier, I was doing so much for free and people did not value me. People started to use me. People were just take, 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 take. Of course, they were giving me, their gratitude and thank you so much, in return. But that was not giving me any money. So I had to go back to the oil field. And because I was working 12, 14-hour days, now I had to drop my business. There was no time to help anybody. All I was doing now was back into the 3D world, back to destroying the earth with my machines, back to causing disruption. And it totally drained me. It took all my gifts away. I was just like, poof. It was a whole thing. And so then I was like, no, I did not come here in this lifetime. And so I think that's another thing that people might like fall into sometimes too, is not everybody came here to use their gifts for money right?
Mhm.
Some of us have that blueprint where we are contracted to come in and make huge impact on this earth, which
Mhm.
means we're going to reach a lot of people, and that abundance, that money is going to naturally flow to us.
Mhm.
It also means that we're using that money to pour back into the people.
Yeah.
And that's a huge one. I know for me, it's like whenever I do have extra money, you best believe I'm like giving people money on the streets. If I see somebody that needs money online, I'm giving that money to them. Like I am constantly trying to give the extra that I have. And I think
Mhm.
that even for me, that's probably a little bit of a problem because sometimes I might give more than I take. And so then again, there you go. There's more of that imbalance coming in. It's like
I was gonna
there's
say, I was like, that's interesting. I'm like, I mean, if I did have extra money, I definitely am. I am one to help. I find I like to help more with my teaching.
Mm,
Where I'm like, how can I help you help yourself? Because that's kind of how I had to learn how to do it. I would love for somebody to just drop a big pile of cash in my pocket and be like, here, let me help you. But the value is really in that teaching. And so
mhm.
that does almost sound like also some kind of vow of like, are you allowed to have extra,
Right?
or do you have to give everything away? It's
Yes.
again just like some kind of a cash chick showing up being like, hey yo, right in video.
Yeah. I just get it and I'm like, okay, bye. Just like just shoot it
Get it
back out
on
there.
with. Right? And so, there's a lot of things tied to
Yeah.
that. And then if we go to that opposite spectrum of like the greed, we, witnessed it in a mentor where it was like the purpose when she had begun was so valuable, just like
Mhm.
how we are right now, where we're like, how do we build courses that are going to give the people as much information as they can handle,
Yeah.
but also to give them value to like be able to do something. So when I do this Akashic record course that I'm building right now, it's like, how can I put the most information in so that they can actually go and clear their Akashic records? When I took the course and you took the same course,
Mhm.
at the end, I was like, I don't know if I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm like, okay, what do I do with this information?
Yeah.
I don't want that for people because I don't want my course to be like, okay, so now that you've taken this one, there's this $2,000 course that'll actually make sense. Okay, I got somebody at my door, so
No
I'll let
worries.
you talk and
Okay. Yeah, it is such a thing. The same thing for me building this spiritual development course, right? I wanted to build it so that way those awakening or those who have awakened and just literally have had no idea where to go, how to start, like, how to like implement, how to like expand, just all the things. How do we build that in such a way where, like you said, there's that balance. It's like you're putting tons of value in it, but you're still getting what you deserve to receive in return without being like, okay, here's the next funnel. Come on in now to this $2,000, $3,000,
Mhm.
bigger level thing. And those are the people, like we were saying earlier, that I have noticed that they're the ones that have gotten hijacked and are now back into that black magic money grid. And the unfortunate part about buying into that is that those grids are actually in the middle of reversing and being destroyed right now. So
Mhm.
whoever has their business plugged into that, you very well could experience some sort of like complete crash of all of it. And that's that's just something to be aware of. So anyways, carry on with your Akashic stuff there.
That's that eclipse season coming in to just fucking rock the system and be like, that was my
Yeah.
neighbor bringing my cat home because he escaped off his leash. So now we're gonna listen to my cat cry for the next however long we're here. Let's have a go.
Uh,
Anyways, so with that, when we don't get enough information, when we're building courses like that, and then they only give you enough information to kind of like try and hook you into the next one,
mhm,
it's showing that lack of integrity, right?
mhm,
I don't want you to rely on me forever. And I
mm,
know practitioners that do that. And it's definitely a trigger of mine that I have to like just pull into myself. But I witness different healers where they're like, I need to see you every 3 weeks for like ever. No, no,
mm-mm,
no, no.
mm-mm.
That's a hijacking too. If you rely on me, you've just become codependent.
Yes.
I never tell people I want to see them again. I'm like, listen, when you feel it, you're going to see dragonflies pop up, my face, things that I said
Yeah.
are going to start showing up. You're going to know it's time that I have more information that you are ready to take in. But
Yeah.
if I'm like, I want to see you every week or every 3 weeks, things like this is me pulling into that greed.
Yeah.
That's that black mentality of like, there's not enough clients.
Yeah.
What we know is our bills always get paid. Sometimes it's not comfortable, but what I'm learning is a lot of that's that poverty consciousness that we
Mm-hmm.
don't believe that we deserve to have more than what we have in our like just surviving.
Yeah.
And so it's stuff that I'm working on myself, which is part of letting go of this idea that we have to give away our services for free.
Yeah.
Our services are what everybody can hold. They just don't know it yet. And so what we're showing the people is how to have value in themselves and then start seeing that worth in themselves to also be abundant, but not just in that financial manner, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely more, I know it's definitely my neighbor.
I
She's
can like
got
feel
that
something trying
energy.
to come in here. I'm like, oh God, we've got some.
Yeah. We've got that neighbor upstairs. She's got the energy, but that's okay. We just play the fucking whoosha game all the
Yeah.
time.
Get out. Yeah.
Um, yeah, okay. So I think that we have to be really mindful of those healers. One good example is Doreen Virtue.
Mm.
She was like huge when I first woke up a decade ago. I had all of her cards. And what happened, if you go look at her, she's literally recanting everything she said. And she was the mentor for so many people, but she also had so much money
Yeah.
coming into that field. And then she's now gone and like went so deep into that religion. So those parasites literally hooked onto her and just sucked her down.
Yeah.
That's what happens when we play with that sorcery. When we stop playing using the magic for with integrity and we're really getting greedy about it, that's when you're going to get hijacked. And I'm witnessing it happen in people even around me. And
Yeah.
it's hard because once they get that hook in them, you try and tell them and they're like, I can't get hooked. And I'm like, everybody can be hooked.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger you get, the fucking more you have to actually unhook yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly having to check my field, just like you pushing that energy out. I was doing that earlier. I was like, whoop, what's that?
Yeah.
Moving some people you were talking to,
Yeah.
because we are beacons of light.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of darkness on this planet that is keeping all of those sex magics, that blood magic, all of these poverty consciousness, that religious grid, that's what's keeping us all trapped and why the humans don't even believe that there's more to life than just what we're experiencing in this trauma right now.
Yeah.
And so we have to be really mindful of those energies. And it's something that they don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
But how can
Yeah.
you teach them for free if they can't even comprehend it? They have to go through that rude awakening. And so we're seeing that right now in this eclipse season. There's going to be a lot of
Oh yeah.
messy energy happening, and
This was
the people are
juicy.
going to all of a sudden value what we're doing and they're going to appreciate it and be like, I can't believe it's something I was talking to my girlfriend about last night. I said, don't you worry. One day, real soon, within probably the next 6 months, you are going to have some of your friends be like, I can't believe you went through that alone,
Mm.
because I'm having a hard time even doing it with your support. And
Yeah.
those people that have thought we were crazy, they're going to start looking to us, looking for help, because we are literally the only options to start pulling them out of this human reality that they're trapped in.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It's going to be wild over the next 6 months. Was the
Yeah.
download I got from Spirit, but this one is a really big one to be unplugging from. And so yeah, we both are working on these different programs. Charlotte's really focusing on that Akashic records, but so much more than just the Akashic records, because there's so much more that we can be doing and should be doing with the Akashics that everybody should honestly understand, at least understand, at least understand that concept. Whether or not you're able to do it for yourself is all dependent on your soul's contract and how far you feel you want to go with that. But Yeah, and then having like spiritual development courses like I'm building, from everything from the most simplest things, from just why is it important to ground, to protect, to cleanse, and then everything from meditation and understanding the science behind it. Because just like Charlotte, I love the quantum. The quantum is everything. I like taking the scientific explanations as much as we can and
Mhm.
really grounding everything that we're doing with that science and not making it so woo woo and crazy, because it's really not. We're in this quantum reality. Everything is constantly always connected. Every timeline, every time era, every dimension, reality, every person, everything is connected. And so those are the things we need to look at, and we need to start clearing or collapsing or unplugging from. And then, of course, really becoming masters of our own energy field, because we are all energetic beings and we have all forgotten that. And that's why everybody's suffering.
Yeah.
Everybody's energy fields are hijacked and they're bombarded and they're just like, they're a mess. So I agree with you. Over this next 6 months, anybody that is a practitioner in any sort of way, just we both really invite you to take a look at where you might be holding any of the things that we've mentioned here today, because the people are going to need you. And right now they do actually already need you. We already have this happening. So many people are so overwhelmed, and there's only so many people on this earth, right, that are meant to be wayshowers, facilitators, such and such and such, um, that aren't always going to be in alignment, say, with where me and Charlotte are at, right? Because some of the stuff that we have might just be a little bit too overwhelming for them. So they need, say, somebody that woke up last year or the year before to bring them forward. And then eventually, when they're ready, they will come to us, or maybe they won't at all. And that's okay too. That's the whole point of it, is like, it's not about hierarchy, and it's not about I'm the best, or I need to have the most followers, or I have the best information, or whatever. It's not about any of that. It's just a matter
Mhm.
of we all have something within us, those codes, that information, that data that
Mhm.
was contracted to a certain soul cluster on earth, that are naturally contracted to find us at some point. Just like they'll be naturally contracted to find you at some point, to get something, whether it's small or big or whatever. So if you're an individual that is wanting to really understand more about how you can collapse these sort of things that we're talking about and unplug from them, then definitely reach out to Charla, because her program is going to be finished really soon here. I know that you still have some spots available for that. Not many though, because it is filling up quickly. So
Yes.
definitely something to think about with Charla. And then, of course, with my spiritual development course, it's interesting. Like the course itself is really, it sounds expensive, but it's really not, because the majority of the price tag is really just the one-to-one sessions that you get in the program. I'm
Mhm.
really only charging $300 for the content, which took me like 8 months to put together. And then the other $900 is all one-to-one sessions, because personally, when I was going through all of my development and learning and those sort of things, if I just watched something online and I didn't have a mentor to work with after that, it was like up in thin air. It was just kind of like, okay, well, I just learned all this information, but what do I do with it now? And how do I move forward with this? It was just like, I personally needed that extra support. And so I really like to put that into my offerings as well. I know not everybody needs that and they may not, but I
Mhm.
know that you feel the same way, and that's why you like to do a lot of your in-person workshops and really be hands-on with people, as much as we possibly can, because we obviously know that not everybody works or lives, sorry, within the areas that we live.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can do a lot virtually. And it was how we found our mentor at the time. And it does work, but it is that thing where it's like sometimes you do need that little bit more with the questions and stuff. And I even find with my meditation circles, I can move a lot of stuff out of people's field with them like being open and susceptible to moving stuff. But then there's other times where I had somebody like there's an entity that's like laughing at me in circle and I'm like literally just bubbling her because I couldn't remove it. It was like her soul was not willing to move that energy. And so even in the circle, I couldn't actually do much more than just shut her shit off so that she wasn't
Yeah.
touching any of my other people. And I was like, listen, we need to have a session. Like we got to get in there and we got to start asking deeper questions than me just being able to pull this thing off. We need to go a little bit deeper. Why is this plugged in? Where did this stuff begin? Stuff like that. And so those one-on-ones become very valuable because you get so much in depth and we can move so much more in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And then that virtual community becomes really valuable because you have just that information coming. I'm really good at, like, I can watch a video and take in so many downloads where I'm like, bing, and take it all in. That's what I was doing this morning before you'd messaged me. And it was like, it's even just the stuff that we were talking about at the beginning with the parasites and stuff. And so I'm just getting new downloads about it, which is going to help me moving forward. So there's a balance there too. Everything's balanced with this world. We gotta let go of the stake in the sand. We gotta stop like being like, this is the true form. This is my truth, because your truth should be morphing all the time. Yeah. Because literally you don't know shit. I don't know shit. None of us actually know anything. The vastness of the truth of the reality out there is so big that our human couldn't actually even grasp it.
No.
It would probably exit body. We'd
psychosis would just set in, like, holy fuck.
Out.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So we're all maneuvering those belief systems, and anywhere you got that stake in the sand. That was one thing when I was rewatching the course I took a while ago. She said, anywhere you got your stake in the sand, you're literally movable. You think you're not movable, but you're actually more movable because you're so stuck in your perspective that people can fucking push and pull you and move you in all the ways because you're so stuck in your belief system that you're not willing to move it. It's not that anybody's right or wrong. It's like, how can you be open to it? Everything we're dropping in your field today, this is possibility for you to shift and morph how you see and view the world. Yeah. You can leave it all. You can be triggered and be pissed off. I do that a lot to people. It's part of my disruptor codes. I'm like, yeah. You take it and go. You got to do what you got to do with it. That trigger's showing you something too. So do what you got to with it. Right. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Always looking at those triggers, man. Yeah. And I find that this whole conversation is one of those triggers for me, because I know how much I've had to heal and collapse and let go of in order to just get to a position where I'm actually able to receive somewhat, right? Like I'm not even like making thousands of dollars or anything like that. Like I'm making just like the bare minimum here with my business, and I'm happy about that. I'm grateful for it, but it's taken a lot of work. So if I do feel somebody trying to come in with those viewpoints, I do get naturally a little bit triggered, because I'm just like, okay, let's talk about this. It's not supposed to be like that. We did not come here to suffer. We did not come here to struggle. Although society is constructed like that and they do want that for us, that's also not what it was meant to be. So that's this whole point of the ascension, right? We are, look at that on the clock, 11:44. That's holding some power in it. I don't know why, I just feel power in that. Anyways, this ascension, yeah, we are breaking free from the slavery systems, right? We're breaking free from that slavery system in all angles, right? On so many different levels of slavery, and being able to charge for whatever you're doing, even if you're not somebody who's doing energy work. Maybe you are doing counseling, maybe you are a carpenter, maybe you are a painter, I don't care, right? Whatever it is that you're doing, you were planted with a divine purpose, a divine possible mission, right? A divine gift, something that the divine God source creator put into your creation codes to express here, to express it. And if that brings you money, then that's okay. It's not evil. It's not bad. It doesn't make a person, greedy, unless of course we can tell when somebody's being greedy or not greedy, right? Like there's a huge difference. It's definitely just something to take a step back at and just really kind of look at and just ask some questions within yourself. If you're doing what you're doing out of integrity and for the highest good of all, then that's something to just look at, pay attention to, and to not listen to the noise that's trying to tell you otherwise, because that noise is either, you know, NPC humans aren't even real. They're AIs. They're naturally trying to get into your field to plant that doubt, that fear, all of the things. I've got my hand going on here. Or we have the humans, our family members coming through, right? Friends, and they're
Yeah.
getting hijacked by these energies. And now they're
Mhm.
trying to plant all of that in your field because, you know, like I said in the beginning, I'm doing all this energy work every single morning. I am so aware of my field, checking in with myself. So if they can't get into your field, they're going to do it to somebody else's around you. And then now you're going to start feeling like, oh, I don't know, you know, my mom said this or my dad said this or somebody said this or blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
And listen, I've fallen into it. That's what got me into that last week. I was hearing
Mhm.
the naysaying through something else that's not me, that wasn't even that person, it was coming from somewhere else. So it's tricky energies, man.
Yeah. It is so tricky. It's a tough one to maneuver, and that's why we have to be really mindful of our field, right? We also have to make sure we're not relying on people to give us that guidance. It's like, check your own field. How does it feel? This is also why you shouldn't be going to see healers every single week. This should be something that you're going and being like, okay, I feel stuck here. I'm going to go get some guidance. Amber's got that information for me, so I'm going to go have a session with her. And then once you take in those codes, then you should be going back and going, okay, what does my field feel like? Does that feel true to me? These kinds of things. Our family members are our biggest like downfall, but also our biggest lesson. We chose these family lines because they're so heavily programmed into their karmic cycles and into those Akashic records that you're here to actually help break them free from that by breaking yourself free from it. So we witness that. I talk about it, especially with the holidays and stuff like this. We go and have these family dinners that nobody actually wants to go to. I mean, I don't actually know anybody. It's like, I can't wait for Christmas dinner this year. I can't wait to go spend time with all the family that I don't talk to. We're not here to actually do that. That's re-traumatizing and replugging those Akashic records in.
Yeah.
We're actually being asked to step away from that. And it doesn't necessarily mean cutting your family off depending on where they are. My family can't keep up with me. I had an old friend from, childhood reach out to me recently, and she said something about she's seen a video of me talking about like the black magics and stuff like this. And back in Saskatchewan, people back home are very, very far behind where my mind is at. They always were. As soon as I woke up, I was way past them.
Yeah.
And it's not me being better. It was just like me like choosing to step out much quicker.
Yeah.
I chose my family line with all that karma because that was the codex I needed to be the Wayshower I am today. And that's the same for everybody. So when we're getting stuck with like, mom says I have to do this, my parents want this, my family expects this, it's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
That's not what you're here for. You're your own individual being. And if you're finding our page, then it means that you're here to be the way shower in that family line to break those ancestral traumas. And so while you're like living for what mom and dad say or what your grandma expects or what, we're living out that generational thing because this is just what my family does. Well, okay, are you here to break that?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're consciously aware enough to be on our group, then you obviously have some kind of inclination that you're not here to relive the traumas.
Yeah.
So how do you start deconstructing it? You got to ask more questions. You got to take your stake out of the sand and actually let yourself go to that next level. And it's uncomfortable. The spiritual journey is not an easy one. It's not something that's all rainbows and Archangel Michael's. It's literally like darkness. And once we realize what's going on in this earth plane, it becomes very uncomfortable. And I've witnessed it many times where people start getting it. I feel like I watched you do it a while ago, probably 6 months ago, where you're like, fuck, what the heck? Fuck, why doesn't everybody know? How do we just tell everybody? Listen,
I remember that.
Alone. It's a whole thing. I remember when I went through it too, a few years ago, when I really went to that next level. And that's a big part of that spiritual journey. It becomes very frustrating.
Yeah.
The more you see, the less you want to know. But once you see it, you can't unsee it because now it's time.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are being very ignorant in their own selves because they're scared to actually see that truth. because once you know, you can't unknow it. So
Got something coming in there again. Yeah, so freaking true. Oh my
it's triggering
goodness.
people, that's why.
Yeah. I'm like,
Just
whoa, okay.
triggered somebody's entity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it just like hit me to like a ton of bricks there. Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with all of that. And man, there was something that I was gonna say, and then it just got like wiped out of my mind there for a second. Hmm. Yeah, interesting how that works, isn't it?
Yeah. Like
Hmm.
there's so many big points. I mean, we could just talk forever, really.
Yeah, there was something really good I wanted to touch on, but it just got wiped clean there. So you know what? We can leave this conversation like that for today because like you said, this could go on for a very long time. Lots of stuff to talk about, lots of different angles. And yeah. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me with this and bringing through your perspective on that because that's something I really enjoy getting is other people's perspectives, like you said. So you are continuously expanding.
Mhm.
Because I know there was a point in time, even for myself, where I kind of did get stuck in my own beliefs, and I was just really like having a hard time seeing past that because I was so excited about what I had discovered because I felt like I'd waited so my whole life to discover these things. And then when
Yeah.
people were trying to challenge that, I was just like, no, I just waited my whole life to wake up to this. Like I am not ready for that.
Yeah.
So big
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, now I'm at that point where I really, and I know a lot of people are too, just want to keep expanding, keep growing, keep knowing the truth, because that truth is what's setting us free, right? And that actually,
Yeah.
before we check off here, is that's now I remember what it was is when we were talking about when we are getting stuck, right? When we are getting hitting that kind of like that glass ceiling, right? Where we think we've made it, we know it all, we've like there isn't anything more we could know, and if somebody brings it in and challenges us, it's like a trigger, defensive mode. That's where I kind of was at one point before I wouldn't say to that extreme, but I was kind of to that point before I discovered when you showed me the J seals. So those seals on the
Mm.
humans really led me down this path of really studying with Renee or Lisa Renee and Ashiana Dean. So all those morphogenetic sciences and ascension mechanics, which really help open your consciousness so much to understanding that every single human being is been plugged into and sealed on different parts of their body. And those seals are going past way more
Yeah.
than just the J seals. There are hundreds, and there are ones that are actually preventing souls from crossing back through to Tara, Tara being that future timeline of Earth of where we fell from. So that's a whole other conversation for another
Mm.
time. But I wanted to just kind of drop that into this conversation because there are these seals. It goes deep, it goes very
Yeah.
deep. But if you are in this energy right now by chance where you're like, you feel like there's more, or maybe you kind of have hit that glass ceiling, just know that there is no glass ceiling. There is no stopping. Like there's no
Mhm.
too much. Like there is so much information out there. We can just keep expanding forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So if you're not currently in that expansive energy, how have you gotten stuck? Is that a belief pattern? Is that some sort of plug or seal or something from the past playing out? Whatever, right? There's so many different angles of it. Ask
Yeah.
those questions, truth test it, grab your pendulum, grab your cards, grab a friend, whatever you have to do to just start really diving into that for yourself. And I by saying that too, if you're not also feeling that, there are certain people too, not everybody, I will say, has been contracted to ascend the entire way. So
Mhm.
some humans, some star seeds, some whatevers actually have only been contracted to ascend to a certain point, and
Yeah.
that's usually the ones that like we've seen are going to exit body because they've reached their point of what they came here to experience, and they're out, and that's okay too. So I just wanted to add that in there because there's no right or wrong, there's no better than or less than. It's just different levels of what the soul came here to experience.
Yeah. And I'll just drop that it was Indigo Angel that is the one that dropped those J seals in my frequency. And so if you're looking to really expand that information, go check her out on YouTube. She drops a lot of stuff. So she's the one that dropped the J seals, the Draco seals. there's two different lines of those seals just for that. And so there's a lot of information. It gets very expansive once you do start diving in. But until you're at a place where you can even comprehend that we have all these energetic pieces, like there's so much shit that's plugged into our body, like tags and pieces, all those aches and pains that you can't ever get away from with the chiropractor and the massage. There's literally energetic pieces in the body that are causing this disease and this disassociation with the body.
Yeah.
And this is where we gotta be open-minded to like the next level of the fucking crazy that happens with the humans on this earth.
Yeah, yeah, it's like next level energy work, right? It goes from just doing the chakras and cleansing the aura to like we're going real deep into the quantum and all of the other
Yeah.
stuff that's really going on underneath that other stuff. So yeah, when an individual is ready though, they either find that information or they'll refine their way to that information and absorb it in their own way, just like we have. And so, okay, well, is there anything else that you want to add before we close up?
I don't think so. That was a lot. I'm like, listen, I'll go for another hour just talking about things, but
I know.
I feel like we hit a lot of amazing points there.
Yeah.
See your worth. That's going to be the biggest thing, is like that's what we're charging, is what we know we're worth. And really we know that we're not actually charging enough, if we're being real honest, but there's that, we're not going to get to that greed point, right? There's never going to be a time where I'm charging $500 for a session, because that's out of alignment.
Yeah.
It's still staying in that integrity. So, $20 isn't enough.
No.
But 500 is too much. Find
Right.
that balance and see your worth. If you're becoming resentful of doing sessions, you're not charging enough. Get what you're worth so that you enjoy what you're doing. You came here to be a wayshower. You came here to be a healer, to help the humans wake up and pull out of the systems. So get what you're worth and see your worth, because that's a lot of what this money stuff's tied to, is how do you value yourself? How do you see yourself and your worthiness?
So freaking true. And we are all on that journey of worthiness, understanding our worth, because it has been stripped from us from, since day one. So many angles. So that,
like, we came in with a lot of trauma to keep us humble. If we would have just came in with the magics that we hold, people would have created us as a hierarchy, for one.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't appreciate this. So we came into really dark family lines with a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse, so that when we did get to this point, we were so humbled that we didn't, right, go too far. And this is where we actually have to fight for our worthiness right now, because of the way we chose to come in, so that we didn't turn into like some of the mentors we've witnessed get hijacked.
Yes.
It's all part of the plan. So just
Yeah.
unplugging the pieces, you'll start finding that worthiness as you go through that process.
Totally. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
I love it too. Well, thank you so much. And that'll be all for today. I hope you have a magical day, everybody that's watching, whether you're on live or replay. If you would like more information regarding either the Akashic course that Charlotte has coming out or my spiritual development course that's coming out, we will provide links for that in the comments below. And for now, we will talk to everybody.